Today, we're back to serious business. We've done so many amazing topics. We'd like to know what you think about them. But today, we are talking about the big one. Decisions.
Making difficult
decisions. And that's what we're going to talk about. Every one of us, at some point or the other, must make a difficult decision, sir.
Yeah, I talking about making difficult decisions.
Yeah.
One of my great mentors, a leadership expert. His name is Sam Chand, Dr. Sam Chand. He has some things to say about decisions that young men or young people always have to make.
Yeah,
and he called it 4 life-altering decisions.
Right.
And he said, number 1 is relocation decision.
Relocation.
And that basically is, where do I settle down? Where do I live? Do I live
Big
in my
question.
country? Do I relocate abroad? Second decision, he said, is marriage decision. That means, who do I spend the rest of my life with?
Right.
Then he spoke about the third one. He calls it work or career decision.
Right.
How can I succeed? And I think these are real issues in the heart of people.
Yeah.
And then he spoke about the fourth decision. He called it entrepreneurial decision, which is, how do I make money?
Money.
Very important. So if we're talking about decisions in this regard, I think it's important for us, I think it's just same for us to know, how do we make these decisions in such a way that will ultimately be the winner, okay, at the end of the day. So, because making choices is actually a part of life. You can't but make choices every day. You can't but make decisions every day.
Right.
And so it's important for you viewers to know that you need to make decisions. You can't escape from making decisions.
Right.
Like we always said the other time, even not making a decision is a decision,
in itself. Yeah.
So you need to keep making decisions because it's just the way life is.
That's right. And these decisions are not made in a vacuum.
No.
They're made in an atmosphere that usually is very stressful.
Exactly.
All right.
Exactly.
And Pastor, you were talking about your friend, the expert.
Yeah.
All right.
Dr. Sam Chan.
Yes.
And one of the things, we looked at in the course of analyzing those 4 decisions that he spoke about, that he called life-altering decisions for young persons.
All right.
Is we realized that in making those decisions, faith is necessary. Faith in God, faith in yourself. And so you realize that those are non-negotiables. I mean, faith is a non-negotiable in making a good decision.
Right.
Because we live in the midst of a lot of pressure.
Right.
And these pressures bother on emotional pressures,
Right.
Pressure for time, because you only have so much time in a day. So we have lack of time. So we are racing against time, and a whole lot more worse pressures, okay, that come on us and inundate us, okay, when we try to make decisions. So if you're not careful, okay, with all these pressures, one may end up making a bad decision that will bite one for the rest of one's life.
It's true.
So it's important for us to know that making difficult decisions is something that you need to really, really take cognizance of and really know how to make good decisions. Okay?
Right.
Because without it, you're just nowhere.
We're lost.
Yeah.
And a poor decision can not only cost you money, it can cost you probably your life.
It will cost you it will cost you everything.
That's right.
It will cost you your marriage. It will cost you your career.
Right.
It will cost you your relocation decision.
That's right.
It will cost you work or career decisions.
Right.
So whichever way you look at it, you make bad decisions, you really, really lose.
You lose. You pay
But
for
I
it.
guess that's why we're here. We're here to let you know that you can win in decision making. And as is customary of me, I always like to build a foundation for what we're doing today. And so I'll take an inspiration from the book of Isaiah, chapter 26, from verse 3 to 4. And also Luke 21, verse 19. Jesus says something. I'll read both. Let me first of all read the book of Isaiah 6:26, verse 3 and 4. It says, this is talking about God. It says, God will keep them in perfect peace, those whose minds are stayed or steadfast on him, because he trusts in him.
Wow.
It says, trust in the Lord forever, for the Lord is the rock eternal.
Wow.
So in decision making, faith is a non-negotiable. Faith in God.
That's right.
I believe to trust God and to be able to rely on God's power and God's help.
Yes.
And then the second scripture, Jesus said this in the book of Luke 21, verse 19. And it was an assurance that he gave us. He says, by standing firm, you will gain life. So how do you stand firm? What are the things that you need to put together to help you stand firm? And these are the issues I think we need to look at when we're talking about making tough decisions.
That is incredible. These scriptures are very powerful. You see them right there on your screen. Do well to memorize them. We're going to the tough questions now because I'm sure the people want to hear, how to make good decisions despite the pressure? You talked about pressure.
We always live in pressure.
In pressure. All
Pressure
right.
for time.
Yeah.
Pressure for attention. Emotional pressure.
Emotional
societal pressure.
Exactly.
Peer pressure.
Peer pressure in the 21st century.
Absolutely.
We're going to go straight into the questions, sir. All right. So we hear this every time. They say stress destroys the ability to make smart choices. How true is this?
That statement is very true.
Huh.
But I'll also say it's only partially true.
Okay.
So stress destroys ability to make smart choices, clearly.
Right.
But stress isn't all bad. It isn't all that bad. In fact, sometimes you need to be able to, stress helps to push yourself. If you're ambitious, if you have ambition, you want to do something with yourself, you need to be able to, sometimes if you don't get pressured, you may not be able to actually get up and go.
That's true.
So partially speaking, I mean, stress is bad. Scientifically, medically, they say stress is bad for your health. But also, when you're trying to push and get something done, where pressure, could help you.
Yeah.
Basically, you just need to have a strategy for managing stress, and then be able to make effective decisions. And for instance, I always tell people that don't make big decisions when you are in a bad mood, when you are not in a good frame of mind, when you are upset.
Yes.
Or when you're too excited, when you're on two extremes of emotion, you might be making decisions that are not really the best. Okay, and then also try and have rules, have some important rules, and hold yourself to those rules. Okay, I remember sometime we spoke about conflict management.
Yes,
and we said if you want to make decisions, don't make decisions in anger. Okay, so walk away, take a walk, have a breather, and then ventilate, and then you'll be able to have a clear mind, because you make decisions from your mind, and your mind must always be in a good state, at every point in time.
Right.
So don't make decisions when you are not in a good state of mind. That basically is, I'll say.
Wow. That's very, very important. It's like, you gave one of the examples before now about when people, remember we were talking about emotions? And,
exactly.
Yeah, and he said, when the person is maybe infatuated, it's not a good time to take a decision because you're not seeing clearly.
Yeah, that's an extreme emotional state.
Extreme emotion. So we need to always take our time to take decisions when the mind is a little bit settled.
Whether you are too upset, don't make a decision. Or whether you are too excited, don't make a decision.
Don't make a decision.
You might just regret it.
Okay, very quickly. Now, there are those that are stress levels, because you mentioned stress as one of the factors.
Yeah.
Okay, so what about when my stress level is very, very high, off the roof?
Absolutely.
So how do I when I have to take an important decision, maybe a work decision, maybe a relocation decision, but I'm very much stressed. What can I do?